Hi everyone, it's Tanya and welcome to today's video. Today, on this rainy day, because it rains today in Tokyo, on this rainy day, I decided to share with you some of the books that I have accumulated in the past, I think, 3 months. I think my last book haul was end of November, maybe beginning of December, don't really remember. So yeah, since then, books that I have accumulated since then. Majority of these books are classics from different countries. There's a stack of Russian classics, a stack of English classics, classical classics like ancient classics, and yeah, and also a few classics from other countries. Some of these books you might have already seen in some of my previous videos, but I haven't officially hauled them, so I decided to show them in this video as well because they're beautiful. They're just beautiful. So why not to show them once again? The beautiful books that I'm talking about is this. I'm in love with these editions. This is vintage Europeans editions. They don't have a lot of titles in these editions. It's like the cover is like fabric. They stylize their covers like fabrics. I think they only have like 5 titles in these editions, maybe 6. I know that they have Don Quixote in this edition, and it's Edith Grossman's translation. I've got myself a copy of Madame Bovary and The Leopard. They also have Death in Venice by Thomas Mann, and they have, I think it's called In Europe, I forgot. I don't own those books yet, but I'm considering I'm considering getting those books as well. Currently both of these books are my budgie reads. So Madame Bovary I am reading together with Risha from For the Love of Classics. Yeah, I'm very excited to read this book. We are in the very beginning, so not too far into it, but so far I have been really enjoying, and it has been, for the classics, it's quite fast-paced. We meet Charles Bovary in the first chapter as a small boy, and then in 3 chapters he is suddenly already second time married. Can you imagine the speed of development, at least in the very beginning? So yeah, it has been really interesting. And also The Leopard is also my budgie read with a few girls from our Discord group, from the BBB book club. I have only finished the introduction and the first chapter. Like, I usually start with introductions and then I go to the chapters. So I finished the first chapter. The first chapter was a little bit slow for me. It took me like a few days to finish it. But even the author himself, in the introduction, he mentioned that the first chapter is slow and not exactly something very gripping, but I think that he said that the 3rd chapter was his best. So yeah, we will see. I've just finished the first chapter. It really was a little bit slow, but yeah, I'm excited to continue with this book. So these are these 2 beautiful editions from Vintage Europeans. They are very actually comfortable, so you will see the close-ups of them. They have these French flops, they have these beautiful end papers, and the cover is like rubbery cover, so I think it's going to wear long, and yeah, they're just beautiful and I love them. Then I have 1 Swedish classics, and this is the Saga of Gösta Berling by Selma Lagerlöf. Selma Lagerlöf was the first woman to receive the Nobel Prize in literature. That's why I got this book. And also I think she was recommended long time ago. Somebody recommended her to me, so I decided to start with this work because apparently it's her best work, and she's best known for this. I am excited for the praise that she receives. So for example, Hermann Hesse writes that every book of this great storyteller keeps on bringing us astonishing examples of her art. No one in Europe can tell tales so unforgettably. And then there is one more praise. Among women novelists of great talent and genius, none, in my opinion, is to be placed higher than Selma Lagerlöf. Doesn't it make you excited? It really makes me. The blurb doesn't really tell you much what this book is about, but from what I understand is that it's about this retired minister who finds a home in an ironworks estate that also houses an assortment of eccentric veterans of the Napoleonic Wars. And then his poetic spirit proves magnetic to a string of women who fall under his spell in the sweeping historical epic set against the backdrop of the magnificent wintry beauty of rural Sweden. The blurb actually does sound like kind of beautiful. I feel like it's going to be something poetic, but also about love if he attracts so like a string of women. So something like that, we will see, but I'm very excited. This edition is, I like that it's very floppy. It doesn't like, I haven't even read it yet, but it already looks a little bit worn. That's why I'm not a big fan of these penguins, but they are really comfortable to read. You see the font is quite comfortable, so yeah, very excited to get to this book. And then one more classic. It's from Brazilian classics. It was recommended to me recently in one of my recent videos, so I immediately got this book because I saw it and it was quite affordable, so I'm like, okay, I need this in my collection. It's this one. It's the Captains of the Sand by Jorge Amado. It's Brazilian Lord of the Flies, and it's about a gang of orphans and runaways who live by their wits and daring. The praise for the author. Amado was writing to save his country's soul. The scenes where the captains of the sands managed to fool the reach of the city and get away with it would have made Henry Fielding or Charles Dickens proud. I have been looking at this book for a long time, but for some reason I was just kind of hesitant whether to buy it or not, and then the comment in my previous video just gave me the push that like, yes, you should get it, and I find that, yeah, I decided to get it. Then we have some, okay, let's do one Italian classics. It's not so much classics, it's just like it's more of a modern writer. I mean, modern classics, I would say, right? So it's Italo Calvino, but it's not his fictional work. It's a collection of his essays on classics. So he was writing different kind of essays on different authors of classics, and these essays are collected in this book, and the book is called Why Read the Classics. And in here he talks about fiction classics, also non-fiction classics, poetry. So he discusses different genres of literature and why he thinks people should read them, why they're still important and significant in our time. I'm particularly interested in his take on fiction, like fictional classics. I'm not very much into poetry, at least not at this stage of my life. Maybe somewhere in the future I will get interested in the poetry, but yeah, currently I'm not reading that. I'm more interested in fiction. So yeah, that's what I'm going to give a try. Italo Calvino, Why Read the Classics. Now I have some English classics. First of all, I got finally I got North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell, because again on Discord, which if you want to join the Big Book Club Discord, it will be down below in the description box, the link, you can join. We read big books, but also if you have some book that you always wanted to read, you can actually just ask in the discussion if somebody wants to read it with you, and you can have your buddy read. So it doesn't necessarily has to be part of the book club. You can just find a buddy read there. That's what we did with North and South. That's also what we did with The Leopard. And South will be my buddy read, also with girls from the Big Book Club. I'm very excited. I've been looking at this book for a long time. It's apparently a retelling of Pride and Prejudice. I haven't read Pride and Prejudice. I've only watched the movie with Keira Knightley, but I really like the movie. I feel like, I don't know, it's a very pleasant movie. I really like it. So I'm curious to see the retelling. And from what I know, Elizabeth Gaskell, she also writes kind of social prose. She tries to show lives of the poor people, of the working class of England. So it's going to be like a social commentary as well on England of that time. So very interesting. And yeah, the book is beautiful. It's this Penguin English Library edition. It's just, yeah, they are always stunning. So yeah, North and South. Then I have Thomas Hardy, The Woodlanders. Again, this book was recommended to me because recently I read Farewell to Machora by Valentin Rasputin. It's a late 20th century Russian classics. I really enjoyed it. I really loved that book because the main topic was kind of saying goodbye to this rural kind of lifestyle, saying goodbye to all these rural traditions. And then somebody in the comments recommended to me Woodlanders by Thomas Hardy, because the person said that this book has a very similar topic, also saying goodbye to old traditions of rural life in the country. So, and also I've heard about this book from Lucy the reader. She also loves this book, from what I remember. She got me interested in it, so I knew about this book before, but I don't know, I knew that I wanted to read it, but I never kind of made steps to buy it. And then this comment in my vlog where I was reading Farewell to Machora also pushed me to finally get this book, which I did, and I'm very excited to read it. I really like this kind of cover. I like the picture on the front. I feel like the picture is very beautiful and romantic. So yeah, I'm very happy with this book. Then we have Wilkie Collins. Wilkie Collins, The Dead Secret, in this Oxford edition. You've probably seen this book. I've shown it before in editions of classics, which I will link up here if you want to check out this video. I got Wilkie Collins again because of your recommendation. Again, somebody left a comment on one of my videos talking about Wilkie Collins novels and how this person loves them, because they said that every single novel is very gripping and interesting and also has a social commentary in it, and it's just always a very immersive experience. So I've only read The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins long time ago. It was a really gripping experience, and it was really interesting, and it has one very wonderful female character, which I also talked about in my video Strong Women in Literature, which I will link up here. So I decided to try more of Wilkie Collins' writings, but majority of his novels are very big. They're like really big. I feel like they can be a solid suggestion for our BBB book club. So some of them will be for sure. But I decided to try his like shorter work. This one is 300. This one is 350 something pages. So this one is on the shorter side, which is good. Yeah, The Dead Secret, I'm not sure what it's about. A mystery of unrelenting suspense and penetrating characterization. The Dead Secret explores the relationship between a fallen woman, her illegitimate daughter, and buried secrets in a superb blend of romance and gothic drama. Set in remote Cornwall, the novel anticipates The Woman in White, intermingling the same themes of disguise, deception, and the dispossession of identity in a powerful and compelling narrative. Sounds good. Sounds wonderful. So yeah, The Dead Secret by Wilkie Collins. Then I've got myself another George Eliot, finally, because I read her Silas Marner, adored her Silas Marner, absolutely adored it. And now I've got her other shorter work, because again, she has thick books. Like majority of her books are very thick, and I'm a little bit intimidated. Also because her writing style, when I just started reading Silas Marner, it took me getting used to, like it took me some time to kind of adjust to her writing. By the end of the book I loved it. So I really want to read more of George Eliot, and I think like this is also one of her shorter works, so Scenes of Clerical Life. This is a collection of short novellas on different characters in this village, from what I know. This edition of Oxford Classics is really beautiful. There is also this book in Penguin edition, but I feel like Penguin edition, to be honest, the cover wasn't my favorite. This cover is really beautiful. I like the picture. So yes, I had my eye on this edition from the very beginning. And then I have one more Elizabeth Gaskell, because I have a feeling, I have a feeling that I'm going to like her. So I decided to get her Mary Barton as well. Again, I've heard about Mary Barton from Lucy the Reader, and she really liked this novel. I decided to get it in this Norton Critical edition because it has the novel, the text of the novel itself, but also a whole lot of additional material. And this is like an older design of them, and I like that their spines are not black. I have a thing with black spines. I don't want my bookshelves to look very grim and dark, so that's why I prefer like colorful spines. And because the newer Norton critical editions, you see they have black spines, and the older ones, they have colorful ones. So that made me happy. But yeah, Mary Barton, I don't really know a whole lot about this novel, but I think it's also going to be something like a social novel about lives of the working class. Mary Barton is another novel that I got. And now some Russian classics, which are very exciting. I am very excited for them because they're beautiful, first of all. Second of all, they're Russian classics and I love them. So first I have Ivan Bunin. Ivan Bunin, Life of Arseniev. Well, obviously it's a Russian edition. I'm going to read it in Russian. I love these editions. I read also Farewell to Matura in these editions. They have illustrations, they're just very beautiful. They're also very small, like compare it for example to Oxford. You see? They're smaller, so they're like this little lovely books. I like also this edition unfortunately doesn't have a lot of illustrations, but I really like the style of them. They're like this realistic style. So yeah, Life of Arseniev is said to be one of the brightest novels in like Russian literature, Russian classical literature. I think it's also kind of semi-autobiographical. Bunin, he never really acknowledged it to be like his autobiography. He never said that yes, it's like my life, but a lot of people suspect that it's his life, like heavily, at least heavily based on his own life. The blurb just says that the novel represents this young man reminiscing on his life in his childhood and then till his early adulthood. He reminisces about his life in his family, about his love affairs. It has some like kind of life philosophical observations of his. Bunin was also writing this novel in the course of 10 years, so he started it in 1920s and he finished it somewhere in the 1930s. 10 years to write a novel, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I've only read Bunin's love stories. He is famous mostly in Russia, at least, for collections of his love stories, which are like very sensual, very romantic. I'm not very much like of a romance reader, so I read those. They were like quite enjoyable, but I can't say like they stayed with me. So I'm excited to explore his Life of Arseniev. And then I think he has also a novel, A Man from San Francisco, something like this. So yeah, we will see. I'm excited to explore more of Bunin. He was also actually the first Russian writer to win the Nobel Prize. Well, he is not listed as Russian because I think he refused his like Soviet, at that time it was Soviet Union, so he refused his citizenship of Soviet Union, so he is not like listed as a Russian writer, but hello, he is from Russia and he's writing in Russian. Then I have The Idiot by Fyodor Mikhailovich Dostoevsky. This is our book club pick for May and June. In this novel we follow this one Prince Myshkin. He comes back to Russia after spending some time in a Swiss sanatorium, and he is this like, he's just a sweetheart. He's a very pure, honest, somewhere maybe even naive. Dostoevsky was actually inspired by the story of the Jesus Christ, and his idea was to portray what it means to be this pure and naive character in this kind of rough and imperfect and cruel sometimes life. How this naivete meets the realities of life. I think it's supposed to be a love story, primarily a kind of love triangle, because our Prince Myshkin, he falls in love with Nastasia Filipovna, a very beautiful woman, but then there is this other man who is also in love with her, and unwillingly Knyaz Myshkin becomes involved into some dark dealings. I don't know, something really dark is going to happen, so we will see. I don't really know much about the synopsis, but I'm very looking forward to this book. Then I have In the First Circle by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. We are currently reading The Cancer Ward by Alexander Solzhenitsyn with Kiran from KG Books. Great. I'm really loving the budget. I'm really loving the book itself. I read just one novel by Solzhenitsyn in school. We read One Day from the Life of Ivan Denisovich. back in school, long time ago, enough I forgot how pleasant it is to read Solzhenitsyn, like in terms of his language. Like obviously topics are not exactly pleasant, but just the language, his language is really, it's kind of simple, it's very simple to read, but at the same time he uses such interesting wording often that I'm just impressed. Like I would never say those words, I would never put those words the way he puts them, and it's just a pleasure to read his writing. I don't know, I really enjoy it. I think he had a really good grasp of like the Russian language, just like, you know, the technical side of it. So I'm really enjoying that, but also his characters and just the stories are very absorbing. The characters are wonderful, they are so real, women, men, everybody, like irrespective of the gender, everybody, he, at least in the Cancer ward, everybody is wonderful. So yeah, this is his other book, In the First Circle. I am also very looking forward. So from what I know, the main part of this novel is the argument that main characters are having. They're arguing about, like, mostly about communism. So one of the characters, he is a firm believer in the communist system, even though he has been through war, he has been even through Gulag, but he still believes in communism and in Soviet Union. This other character, before he used to be this strong believer, but by now he is convinced in the problematic nature of communism and Soviet Union as the country. And so the main part of the book is their confrontation and their argument. Then I have Leonid Andreev. This is a collection of his short novellas and some of his short stories. I don't know if he is translated into English. I tried to find some of his books in English. I don't think he's translated, which is a shame, because he sounds really interesting and he receives a lot of like praise. I haven't read him before, we don't study him in school, but from the comments that I found on the internet about his books, he seems to be a very interesting writer. This particular collection has Iuda Iscariot. So Iuda is a person from the Bible who betrayed Jesus Christ, and so in this one novella, Andreev is looking at kind of his inner world of this person, of like why he betrayed, how he felt after he betrayed, what happened to him in terms of his inner life after betrayal of the Jesus Christ. And I thought it was a very interesting kind of topic. He also has Diary of the Devil, I think it's called. He has a novella, Diary of the Satan. Yeah, I don't really know much, but I'm very curious because, yeah, I have, like I said, I have read a lot of praise for this author. And then I have Ivan Shmilov, Лето Господне, and his novellas. So Лето Господне is a novel. If you translate it, it's like Summer of the God, God's summer, Lord's summer, something like that. Shmilov is said to be one of the most Russian writers from those who lived abroad. Like he immigrated from, again, Soviet Union after the revolution, and he lived, I think, in France or somewhere else. So yeah, he immigrated, but he was writing novels about this traditional, again, Russian gentry lifestyle. But this lifestyle is also very much connected with Orthodox Christianity, because he himself was very religious, his family was very religious, and so he just describes this lifestyle with all these Orthodox Christian traditions, celebrations. So I expect it to be something very heartwarming and kind and just sunny, something that will brighten up my mood and, yeah, maybe make me miss Russia or something like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this book as well. It will also be my budgie read, also with a girl from Discord group. I found a lot of budgie reads. I am enjoying them. So yeah, by the way, we have already finished Alesia by Kuprin, and so now we are decided to jump into the summer, God's summer, Lord's summer. Don't know how to translate it exactly, but yeah, so very excited for this. And then Then I have two modern books by African writers, which I am so looking forward to. So first one is People of the City by Cyprian Nkwezi. He is a Nigerian author. It is said that Chinua Achebe, when he became the editor of the legendary African Writers series, this was his first pick for those series. So this novel was his first pick, which is exciting. This novel is said to be Nkwenzi's early masterpiece, and it's the tale of Amusa Sango, a young man who travels from the country to a great and crazy city that is not named but might well be taken for Lagos, where he means to make a career as a crime reporter for the never less than sensational West African sensation. Amusa is a man on the make, looking for stories, success, sex, maybe even love, and he finds a lot of what he is looking for, though whether he can hold on to what he has and get what he wants is another story altogether. Nkwenzi's delicious novel has the swagger, bravado, and elation of the great bands of Africa. Nkwenzi paints a vivid picture of cultural cacophony of modernizing Nigeria, filled with colonizers, revolutionaries, dreamers, and schemers. The mesmerizing tale and its feckless, frustrating protagonist provides stark glimpses into the class struggles, misogyny, and violence that often lurk beneath a bustling metropolis. I like this edition. It's New York Review books. So I always kind of look out for these books. Like if a novel is published in this edition, I usually get interested because they usually publish kind of modern, interesting novels. So I'm also excited to get to this book. And then I have We Are All Birds of Uganda by Hafsa Zayan. I bought this book on a recommendation from Eric. He talked about this book in some of his videos, especially one of the video where he made his prediction about a long list for the Women's Prize for Fiction. So he talked about this book there, and he talked about it in such an interesting way. He said that he absolutely loved it, and I'm like, okay, I want to read it as well. So yeah, I bought this book because of Eric. I will link his channel down below if you want to check him out. I will link all the channels that I mentioned down below, so you can check all of them out. Yeah, but this novel it's 1960s Uganda. Hassan is struggling to run his family business following the sudden death of his wife. Just as he begins to see a way forward, a new regime seizes power, and a wave of rising prejudice threatens to sweep away everything he has built. Present day London. Samir, a young, high-flying lawyer, senses an emptiness in what he thought was the life of his dreams. Called back to his family home by an unexpected tragedy, Samir begins to find the missing pieces of himself, not in his future plans, but in a past he never knew. So apparently it's going to be something about this connection between these two men, Hassan and Samir. I'm very looking forward to this book. I am really looking forward to this. Then I have some Japanese books, classics and modern. First of all, I have Memories of a Polar Bear by Yoko Tawada. Yoko Tawada, I think she is a Japanese-German writer. Three bears. The first, a diligent memoirist whose unlikely success forces her to flee Soviet Russia. The second, her daughter, a skilled dancer in an East Berlin circus. The third, Nut, a baby bear born and raised in Berlin Zoo at the beginning of the 21st century. Here, then, in the enchanting story of three extraordinary bears brought to life but by one of Japan's most inventive and dazzling novelists. So yeah, it's going to be a story of these three bears. I'm looking forward, because apparently it's also somehow connected to Soviet Russia, so we will see. Then I have The Little House by Kyoko Nakajima. I've been looking at this book for a very long time, and finally I also decided that it's high time to get it. So in this novel we follow this young woman, Taki. In 1930 she leaves her rural village in Japan and she moves to a Western style house with a rich family, and she becomes their servant. The book is set between 1930 and the beginning of the Second World War. So we follow this life of this one rich Japanese household against the backdrop of nearing war. The novel depicts family secrets, love affairs, nostalgia, and a stark insight to the hardship of wartime in Japan, with supreme sensitivity and attention to historical detail. It is also said that our main protagonist Taki is going to have a very close friendship with the mistress of the house. And I love books with friendships in them. Besides, yeah, the rest of the description also sounds very interesting. So, family secrets, love affairs, also captures refined middle-class life of this Hirai family. So yeah, I think it's going to be something really interesting. Maybe similar to the maybe Makiwaka sisters. Maybe, I mean, no. Maybe I'm thinking. Maybe is it similar to the Maids by Junihiro Tanizaki? I have that book as well. I need to read it as well. So yeah, very interesting. Then I have one of the Yasunari Kawabata's book. This is The Old Capital, which also I've been eyeing for a long time and finally decided to get. This has something to do with artists. We follow this one family, man and woman and their daughter. However, she is not their biological daughter. She didn't know it before. She just learns that her parents stole her as a child in the moment of desire, as it's said in the blurb. And so it said that this delicate novel traces the legacy of beauty and tradition from one generation of artists to the next, as they navigate with an ambivalent mixture of regret and fascination the complex world of post-war Japan. The simple story of chance, art, and devotion resounds with deep spiritual and human understanding. This novel was cited by Nobel Committee. It's one of the 3 novels that were cited by the Nobel Committee when Yasunari Kawabata received the Nobel Prize in Literature. And also some of the praise on the back says that he is, in his usual cryptic style, a master of suggesting passion and tension through a few other writers who could invoke such a lasting memory of a single image with so few words. So yeah, Yasunari Kawabata. Excited to explore more of his writing. And I have Osamu Dazai, The Setting Sun. This is also something about life in the post-war Japan, this Meiji era Japan, and the transition of the country from the feudal times and from the feudal culture to this new modernized industrial society. And we will follow this one girl, Kazuko, who was born to a wealthy and respected family, but she decides to leave her class. Yeah, so I don't know really much about this novel because it doesn't tell you much, but I want to try Osamu Dazai's writing. He's an interesting author. He also committed suicide, so he died because of suicide in 1948. So he's very well known, but I've never read anything by him. Then I have a collection of scary Japanese short stories, to be precise, ghost stories. So this one, Apparitions, Ghosts of Old Edo. And yeah, it's just that, it's the collection of ghost stories I just want to try. I'm not very much into like horror books, but I want to give these ones a go, and we will see how I will feel about them. Then I have a novel which I don't know if I'm going to like, because I received a comment before that the person was disappointed in this novel. So we will see. What is this novel? There is No Such Thing as an Easy Job by Kikuko Tsumura. This is something about a young woman who wants to have like an easy, unrequiring job. Yeah, something not too stressed, but apparently every job that she finds brings her struggles. That's kind of what I expect. What it says in the blurb: a woman walks into an unemployment agency and requests a job that requires no reading, no writing, and ideally very little thinking. She is sent to a nondescript office building and tasked with watching the hidden camera feed of an author suspected of storing contraband goods. But watching someone for hours isn't as easy as it sounds. How will she stay awake? When can she take delivery of her favorite brand of tea? And perhaps more importantly, how did she find herself in this situation in the first place? As she moves from job to job, writing adverts for shops that mysteriously disappear and composing advice for rice cracker wrappers that generate thousands of devoted followers, it becomes increasingly apparent that she is not searching for the easiest job at all, but something altogether more meaningful. The verb sounds actually interesting, but yeah, the person said that it wasn't that good, but I still want to give it a try. And then I have some other books. So I have some modern American classics which were on my American classics TBR that I want to get to like books. So I have these two books. I have the color purple and The Tree Grows in Brooklyn. I will not talk about them too much because I have already talked about them in my American and British classics that I want to read in 2021, which I will link up here. But yeah, basically I'm very excited for both of these books. They seem to be like just must read from American classics, so that's what I want to try. I'm trying to do it fast because I have already been talking for so long. I have some ancient classics that I also want to try. I got myself a copy of the Aristia by Aeschylus. I'm not sure how to pronounce it in English. Yeah, I don't really know what the Aristia is about, but I just decided for myself that I want to read more like ancient classics, can educate myself on the ancient classics. So I got this copy. Eventually I will know. And then I have Hesiod, Theogony and Works and Days. And then this edition also includes Theogony's elegies. Yeah, I'm more currently interested in Hesiod and his Theogony. So Theogony is the origin, tells the story of the origin of kind of the world and all the gods in ancient Greek pantheon. And Works and Days, I think it's supposed to be like a kind of his advice to his lazy brother, something like that. So the first one deals with gods and the second one deals just like with regular life. I don't really know much, I haven't read it, but yeah, looking forward to this. And then I also have Aeschylus, also The Persians and Other Plays. So these are my ancient classics. And also I have two more books to show you. First of all, I have All the Lives We Never Lived by Anuradha Roy. I actually bought this book just by case because I misread the name of the author. I initially read it as Arundhati Roy, which is the... Yes, I know, it's stupid. I initially read it as Arundhati Roy, the author of God of Small Things, and so that was the main reason why I bought this book. But then I was just kind of reading the title and the verb, and then I realized that it's actually a different author and it's a different book. Oh, it was a mistake, but okay. I still want to try it. It is something about this young man whose mom married a British person and moved from India to Europe. The book is about him kind of discovering why she did this and what she left behind, kind of going back to his roots, but also understanding that his country is in trouble. Excavating the roots of the world in which he was abandoned, Mishkin comes to understand that connections between the anguish at home and war-torn universe overtaken by patriotism. It's war, nationalism, and trees shape lives in unforeseeable ways in this novel about a family and a country struggling with historic change. So, and then I have a Moroccan author in a Moroccan book, The Blinding Absence of Light by Tahar Ben Jelloun. So it is said that one of the most beautiful, humbling, and important books most of us are ever likely to read. like all the praise is very exciting. Belongs to the annals of prison fiction, along with Solzhenitsyn's One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich. Unforgettable, uplifts and even exhilarates the reader. By strong example, it shows how and why the free mind can smash all chains. And so the blurb says, in 1971, disaffected student Salim took part in a failed coup to oust King Sahan II of Morocco. With 60 others, he was incarcerated in a secret prison complex in the Moroccan desert. They were to remain there for nearly 20 years. In starkly eloquent, beautiful prose, Tahar Ben-Jelloun relates the prisoners' experiences as they struggle to survive. The son of a witty, freckless courtier who disowns him, Salim, tells the stories to keep sane. From the surahs of his beloved Quran to the plot of a street cat named Desire. Even in the darkest, most terrible conditions, sympathy, insight, the human quest for meaning and understanding never deserts Salim. The resulting novel is a wrenching yet exquisite celebration of the human spirit and its determination to survive. Like, how brilliant does this sound? This sounds brilliant. I am looking forward also to reading this book. I am so looking forward to all of these books, like all of them. All of them. But I think this one will be one of the ones that I will pick up soon, because it really sounds great. So there were all the 30 or something, I don't know, around 30 books that I have acquired in recent months. I hope you enjoyed this huge book haul. Hope it was interesting. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what books you have acquired recently, what books you are currently reading, what books you are looking forward to reading. For now, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a very good day, staying safe, and I will see you soon in my next videos. Thank you very much. Bye.